Hello again, everybody. Thank you for watching a new program of CompArte, where we talk about culture and arts in all its colors and forms. And I'm Katie Hallibone, and I'm here with my colleague Joaquin Belmonte, who makes all the technical stuff and makes this all possible. Today, well, we're going to be talking about several things. We're going to go into who are the Granaderos and Damas de Gálvez, their importance in the United States and also in Spain. America 250, which couldn't be otherwise because it's here, the year's here, everybody's very busy doing lots of things. And we're going to talk about a very important symposium that is being organized by our invited celebrity today, who is Ann Reynolds Bergeron. Welcome, Ann. Thank you for your time to spare to be with us today. And I'd like you to explain a little bit to people. First of all, tell them about yourself. You are the actual governor of the Louisiana chapter right now. You have been you were elected as governor since 2024. And I think we should tell people a little about the chapters and how many there are. And first, thank you for coming. And how are you?
Thank you, Katie. I am fine. And yes, I'm currently serving as the governor of the La Louisiana chapter. The Granaderos are an international organization, as I suspect your audience knows, because of course we have a chapter there with you in Marchara Villaya. In the United States, we have a chapter in Pensacola. We of course have La Louisiana. We have a chapter in Houston, in San Antonio, and in Laredo. However, we are expanding. Right now, chapters are being formed in the Rio Grande Valley, sort of in McAllen, Texas, which is literally on the border with Mexico. In Baton Rouge, we are forming a new chapter that will be in the state of Louisiana, and that chapter is going to have a special focus on the Gálvez militia, which is very important to us and the whole expedition, the cattle drive and everything. And then a chapter that they're looking at forming in Mobile, in Alabama.
Alabama, because I think it's
Alabama.
because at the moment the ones we have them all in Texas, Florida, and the one
And
yours
the
in
one
the
in Louisiana.
Louisiana. But yeah,
Right.
Alabama is going to be coming back more than actually being new, I think, right? Because I think there
I'm
was one years
There
ago.
may have been one years ago,
Yeah.
but that was before my time. And then my
Mm.
personal goal after we get the Baton Rouge chapter stood up is to go to Natchez, Mississippi, where I grew up,
Uh-huh.
actually knowing about Galvez and the Spanish, even
Wow.
though they had a smaller role in
Hmm.
Natchez. And so it was very surprising when I moved to Baton Rouge maybe 45 years ago and met people who had grown up here, gone to school here, and they had no idea about Galvez. No idea
Yes.
about the Battle of Baton Rouge, no idea they'd ever been Spanish. We were living in a neighborhood, let me mention, named Spanish Town, built on the battleground. So it was
Wow.
pretty
Wow.
amazing to me. Yes, yes.
Yeah, well,
So
that's why
that's
it's
where
so
that's
important,
where
the
we're
work,
going.
what you do and what the rest of the Granaderos do in each of their towns that they're actually based. It's giving out that knowledge of the history, which a lot of people ignore, so
They have
it's
ignored it. The
mm,
Steve Kling said it best when he said, "There is a hole in the story of the American Revolution the size of Spanish colonial Louisiana," and he is correct. He is correct. And as I say when I go out and speak, if we don't tell our story, no one else will,
yeah.
because they've been telling the story of the American Revolution for 250 years,
Hmm.
and the people who lived here on the battlefield didn't even know. this part of the story. So it's very important what the Granaderos are doing across across the Gulf South right now. Obviously, what you're doing in Spain too.
Hmm. Well, tell people, Anne, because you're looking beautiful today. Just when you come up on the
Yes,
screen, it's like, oh wow, Anne is doing her part. She's looking beautiful. Uh, Tell people what you're wearing. What are your what do
sure.
you showing
I
people
am
today?
I am portraying basically what my ancestors at that period, my family was in Louisiana. We had a Spanish land grant in the 1700s. We still have the Spanish land grant. It's still in the
Wow.
family to this
Oh
day.
my God.
Um, but my relatives were not Spanish. We were Acadians. And so I'm not dressed as a Spanish woman. I'm dressed as a woman of the time. I'm dressed as an Acadian, and I'm not dressed in fancy clothing because I'm living out on what they used to call the prairie or the frontier.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
am in the Southwest, to the Southeast. I'm not in New Orleans. I'm
Mm-hmm.
living on
Your
property.
farm.
A farm. I've got a cow. I've got
Yeah.
chickens. Now, where I do deviate a little bit from my family history, but this is to reflect my husband, who dresses as a member
Oh,
of the Regimento.
our
Um,
fantastic Paul. We all love him.
our
He has a lot of
fabulous
fans
Paul,
in
our
Macerovia.
fabulous
I must say
Yes,
that.
my fabulous Paul, who is a descendant of Antonio Gilibarbo and the cattle drive. So we portray what is a very common theme in Louisiana at that period. The Spanish soldier who came over as a single man. Well, who do you marry? You marry the girls who are there. Who were the
Yeah.
girls? The Acadian girls.
Yes.
And so that is what we portray. But because I do have the Spanish soldier husband, I do have a little bit of a fancy touch that I can put on for church on Sunday or for an important occasion
Okay.
like this. I have this little bit of lace that obviously his family must have sent over either to celebrate our marriage or maybe the birth of a child for
Mhm.
some special occasion. I don't wear this every day. I would normally
No,
just have a
of
cotton
course.
scarf on, but this is a special occasion, so I have my frill on today. Um,
Wow.
but that's who I am. And
Uh-huh.
that's who we
Well, that's
portray when Paul and
fantastic.
I go out. The story of
Yeah, that
Louisiana. Yes.
that information is amazing, and it's sad your husband's not there today because
Mhm.
else we could have said hello. But he has a lot of fans, like I said, in Macerovia. When you actually had us in a group of 14 Granaderos and Damas from Macerovia in 2024. You
Yes.
hosted us fantastically. You took us to march along the Mississippi River and everyone in their uniforms. And that was just such an amazing experience, especially for like think about my young son. He was only 11 when we did
Yes.
that. He has his own uniform, and he was very proud to march along with his daddy and following your Paul. And then I always remember when we were actually sat down having the typical picnic that you made for
Yes.
us all down on the battlefield. Your husband changed. He changed and he put his Paul clothes on, and he just he was then out of character because he never breaks character. And then my boy comes over to me and says, "Mama, is that the same guy that wears the uniform?" Or is that not? I think it is.
Yes. Yes. I just have
Amazing. So,
the
yeah,
one husband.
he has a lot of fun. Yeah, people have
He does.
really love him. He's fantastic and always very in character with his uniform on. And then he just took it off, and then we weren't too sure, is it the same guy? Amazing. That was a lot of fun. So thank you for that. And we had such a fantastic time. So we're all coming up to, well, coming up. We've already started. I mean, Maceravia has already started with their exhibition commemorating the American 250, and there's so many things going on in the United States. That's why I felt that people have to come on the show and let people know here in Spain also what's going on everywhere, and that the chapters of the Granaderos have to have their opportunity. So I invite everyone to please come on and tell us what they're getting up to so we can all find out out about it. So tell us a little bit about you're going to have a fantastic symposium that you've been working on for several years. There's
Yes.
years work going into this. So tell us where is it actually going to be held and what's going to go on?
Sure. Our symposium comes up this weekend and it's going to be held at Nunez Community College. Note the name Nunez, Nunez, in Chalmette, Louisiana. Chalmette, Louisiana is about 10 miles as the crow flies from New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's a completely different world. Chalmette has a very large Canary Island population, and our symposium is being held in conjunction with the Canary Islanders' annual uh, Isleño Fiesta. This is
Mm-hmm.
their 50th anniversary of their fiesta. And so we thought it was a perfect marriage to have our symposium there with them. We have a rock star panel of speakers. Stephen Kling, who you've already had as a
Fantastic.
guest, but he is launching his new book that goes with
Mm.
that exhibit at our symposium.
Oh,
First
wow.
place
That's
anybody
so
will be able to
special.
buy it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very special. His co-author, Kristen Sostrom, is in from Spain. She's going to speak about Governor Leyva and the Upper Mississippi. We have Tim Sider, who is a professor at the University of Texas in Tyler, who's going to talk about the cattle drive. Because, of
Mm.
course, people think of the cattle drive and they say, oh, Texas. Those cattle came across the
All the
Sabine
way.
into northwest Louisiana, came down the side of the state. So that's a big thing. And if you go to northwest Louisiana, if you go to Zwolle and Manny and those areas, you still see the surnames of those original vaqueros
Mm-hmm.
who married girls who were
Yeah.
there and
And
stayed.
stayed.
Many people don't realize that the first capital of New Spain was Las Adayas, which is
Mm-hmm.
in Louisiana. And when they moved to San Antonio, when the government of Spain moved the government to San Antonio, they took those settlers and they moved them to San Antonio. Most of them then chose to come back. They had made a home in Louisiana and they wanted to come back, which is an
Mm-hmm.
interesting story. So he's going to speak about that. Um, we have Ray Berthel. Well, of course, Dr. Thomas Chavez is coming to speak about the diplomatic situation that went on in getting Spain into the war. Ray Berthelot, who's with our Department of State Parks, is a specialist on colonial Spain. And he's going to speak about, I can't wait to hear this, the remnants of colonial Spain still in Louisiana because they are there. Many have been forgotten, and I can say I can only tell you a little bit about this because I only know a tiny bit about this part. But in Monroe, Louisiana, there's a Revolutionary War sword that has stayed in the family, the original family. It's been on display in the courtroom. Yeah. So anyway, it is about to be restored, conserved, all of that stuff you do,
Yeah.
and moved to the Chenault Military Museum up there in
Oh,
Monroe, which gets 60 to 70,000 visitors a year who will
wow.
now see this
Wow, that's fantastic. So
in
people
an
can
area
see
where
it.
people don't realize they had because Fort
Mm.
Miro was there. So I'm looking forward to seeing what else I learned from Ray on that. Stephen Estopanel, who's a wonderful, wonderful author, local author who writes historical fiction about the
Uh,
Canary Islanders. And unlike a lot of historical fiction, it's very long on history. The history's absolutely spot on. You can
mm.
read about something and then you can go to Dr. Chavez's book or Stephen Kling's book, and the history
Hmm.
part is absolutely perfect. But he's woven it into a story that interests people who don't read
Yes.
history books.
Yes, that's
So he has
fantastic, isn't it?
it's fabulous. He has
Hmm.
four. He's going to speak about bringing history alive to people through historical fiction. Michael Henderson, who I know you've had as a guest, is going to
Hmm.
speak about his family story. So we're really,
Yes.
really, really excited about this opportunity to bring to people more of the story. The part
Hmm.
and Francis Turnbull, even though Natchez was not technically part of Spain all the time. It was more a British settlement. Francis Turnbull is going to come and talk about the Natchez Rebellion of it was either 1780 or 1781. After Gálvez took Baton Rouge, they sent a message to Natchez. and said, we're either going to march up here and take you, or you can just surrender now, basically,
Mm.
is what it said. So Natchez just surrendered then. Well, at some point after that, the British, still living in Natchez peacefully, decided they wanted their fort back. And so there was a rebellion, and Spain did have to send troops to put down the rebellion. So that's kind of a personal interest because I grew up in Natchez. And so she's going to talk about that. She is a specialist on the borderlands, as they call them
Wow.
down here.
Well,
Yep.
that's
So we're
fantastic. So
really,
the symposium is going to go on for several days.
it's
Is
going to be all day Friday and half a
Mhm.
day Saturday because
Okay.
we wanted people to be able to go over to the Isleños Fiesta
Yeah.
once it opens on Saturday at noon. So
Hmm.
that's what it's going to be. Yeah. And
Okay.
we're really, really
Fantastic.
excited. We're so grateful. I mean, I know when y'all were here and we went out to Galvez Rum underwrote the
The
symposium
distillery.
for
Yeah.
us, the distillery, for which we are incredibly, incredibly grateful because we would have never been able to do this on our own without their
Mm.
financial help.
That's fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
we thank them from here, from Achura Viaya too, for their support. And I mentioned before, you've been setting this up for more than a year. I think you've
Almost
been
two
working
years.
almost
I
two
started
years.
on
Wow.
this. This started in May of 2024 when the
Hmm.
chairman of the Louisiana America 250 Commission, who I have known, I was an adult advisor to a student group at LSU when came up to LSU as a freshman. So I've known him since he was a kid, and he's now the chairman of the State America 250 Commission. And he said, we should have a symposium on colonial Spain and the American Revolution. And I
Yeah.
went up to him after the meeting and I said, hey, I'll help with that. And what I meant by help was, I'll get you some speakers.
Yeah.
And the next month, he turned and looked at me and said, bring me a budget.
Right. So you
And
had
I
to
knew
do the
then
whole thing.
we were putting a symposium on, which we
Wow.
then did. Yep.
Well, congratulations
Thank you.
for coming all that way, and really, you must be so busy right now and getting last minute things and
Oh, yes, packing things up and all. And I wanted to say, when you talk about America 250, and I make this point whenever I go out, I think this is really important, especially for your audience. Look,
Mhm.
America 250 starts on July 4th, 2026. It does not end. We are not even in the war yet.
Yeah,
My
exactly.
ancestors are blissfully on their farms. They have no idea what's going on up in Philadelphia or anywhere like that. She has
Mm.
no idea that that soldier husband, in just a couple of years, is going to march off and he's not going to be home till after Pensacola. So
Mm.
he's going to leave in 1779 and he's not going to come home until 1881. I mean, 1781, 1782, however long it took him to get back
Yeah.
home afterward.
Mm.
She has no idea how her life is about to change
Change. Yeah.
at this
It's,
point. They are blissfully unaware. So I remind people we're looking at this symposium as a kickoff to
mm.
our America 250. We have big plans working with the SAR, which the Sons of the American Revolution, I don't know if your audience knows, last year declared their Battle of Baton Rouge uh, commemoration that we always work with them on to be what they call a national event. That put the Battle of Baton Rouge on an equal footing for the first time ever, and it's going to be
Yeah.
there now for good with like the Battle of Bunker Hill and all of that.
Hmm.
That's a huge thing to bring that amount of recognition to the Galvez story
Yeah,
down
it
here.
is
It's a
fantastic
huge thing.
because it's always seems to be like people forget to mention the Battle of Baton Rouge. It's like
Yes,
this was also very
yes.
important and
It's
it
very important.
existed. Yeah.
I tell people all the time, in Galvez, it was the Mississippi River and the Gulf Coast.
Mm.
And if you look, that's an L, the Mississippi River, here's the Gulf Coast. What's the hinge? It's right here.
Yeah.
It's Baton Rouge. If you hadn't taken Baton Rouge, you wouldn't have gotten Natchez
Yeah.
and St. Louis, and you couldn't have gone across because you would have been too exposed here. And so there would have
Hmm.
been no Mobile and there would have been no Pensacola, and Britain would have continued to
Yeah.
resupply and send their things up and overland. It'd have been a very, Spain's role was absolutely crucial in this. What Galvez did truly changed the tide of the war. And it's
Hmm.
way past time for people to understand that.
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is. So There's so not just your symposium, there's lots of other things going on. Like I say, invite any other Granaderos or sons and daughters of the American Revolution to tell us about what they're going to do for American 250. And what else is going on in your area right now that you've already been able to celebrate or that you're actually coming up to in your area for American 250?
Sure. Well, as you remember when y'all came before and we gave you a proclamation from our brand
Yes,
new city of St. George, which
that's
is
right.
bordered by the Amite River and Bayou Manchac, two of the waterways that the Gálvez troops traversed going to Baton Rouge. Um, we are planning a America's potluck, but we're really calling it a picnic on July 5th to
Mhm.
celebrate our role in the America 250 movement. And that'll be an open community festivity at one of our large parks, public parks. People can bring a picnic lunch if they want, or we'll have food trucks. So if you don't want to cook, you don't have to, or you don't want to bring anything, you can do that. I'll have my big Gálvez standee that my husband bought me
Mhm.
for the symposium out there. We're going to have the Daughters of the American Revolution are bringing what they call the Charters of Freedom, which are the Declaration of
Because
Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. We're going to have some of the other things that we've bought for the symposium. In the courthouse at Chalmette, there's a fabulous stained glass window of the Isleños arriving in Chalmette, originally in St. Bernard Parish, and of Gálvez. And we had a tall standee made from that, a pull-up fabric banner thing. So we'll have that out there and things to we'll be in uniform and costume, several of us. There's a strong possibility that one of these city councilmen might be able to fit in one of my husband's other Spanish uniforms into
oh,
his
that'd be
uh,
fantastic.
cannon crew uniform to celebrate America 250 and remind our community that we have, even though we're a brand new city of just a few years, we have a long, rich history. I'm
Yes.
really happy to say that St. George has just truly embraced the fact that of the Gálvez connection, and we have longer term goals to put on a history walk that we want to
Hmm.
develop there at the Bayou Manchac, like where the men were walking.
Yeah.
Along there, set up little vignettes that will be both civilian and military of life in colonial Louisiana in 1779, so that on a Friday, say the school students could come on a field trip, and then on
Mm.
Saturday and Sunday, the general public could come stroll through that nice wooded path, and at
Yeah.
the various stations, stop and learn more
Learn
about
history.
the
Hmm.
history at that
Hmm.
point. So that's a longer term goal,
Wow.
but
Hmm.
we have a lot of irons in the fire moving forward to
Hmm.
keep telling the story here. Keep
It's
telling the story
fantastic.
here because 2029 is our year. I hope to have a
Hmm.
parade. Don't know for sure I can do it, but it's a goal is to
You'll
have
get
a
it.
parade.
You get it. You
Well, if
you
we
you
get it,
work
we're going to have
hard.
y'all. Okay, now look, if we have it in September of 2029, y'all have to come over to march in the parade,
We'll
you know,
definitely try.
because that will be a year for the Granaderos from Spain to come in their
Hmm.
uniforms and their capes and march with all of us and
Yeah,
everybody
it
else
would
that
be
we have marched.
fantastic. It really
It would
would.
be so cool. It would be so
So
cool.
we will
Yeah.
be going to Pensacola for the
Pensacola.
American 250 for the meeting, which the Granaderos, we all of us go down there this year, which I'm sure will be a lot of fun. And then we'll come down your way, hopefully, to visit you guys and be in New Orleans and be see in person this Galvez statue that actually came back. We are so happy, so proud,
Yes.
so grateful to Maria Page and all the people that worked on that because that is so important that that managed to come back.
Yes, yes. I was seriously at the point where under most state laws in the United States, if something's been like at a repair shop or something for a certain period of time and you never came and picked it up, they can declare it abandoned and sell it to someone for the
Yeah.
cost of their storage and their work.
Hmm.
I was seriously at the point where I was saying,
Worried.
y'all, I'm just gonna find out what Texas law on abandonment is, and
Oh
we'll
my
just buy
gosh.
it and bring it to Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
rather than
Why
let it
not?
slip, rather than let them declare it abandoned, we don't know anything about it,
Yeah.
and it goes like,
Uh-huh.
to Des Moines, Iowa or something. We
Hmm.
want to get it if we can. But fortunately, we did not get to
Mm.
that point, and it is now
Yes.
back where
Thank
it
God.
belongs in New Orleans. I can't wait to go see it.
Yeah, that's really something. We were so happy when we finally saw that was actually happening. I had people telling me from everywhere, you know.
Oh,
So
I'm
we were very
sure.
excited about that. That's fantastic. So, tell me, how many people are you expecting at your symposium?
About 200 at this
Wow.
point. However, I do still have people emailing me for more information. So I'll just say this, the auditorium holds 400 people. When we
Okay.
first when we
Yeah.
first booked it, I was like, oh gosh, do not let me only have 25 people show up, because
Yeah.
25 people in a 400 seat auditorium is going to look terrible.
Sad, yes.
Obviously, I did not need to worry about that. So we have
Nothing at
about
all. You'll have
200.
more than 50%, definitely.
Yes, yes. We have,
Wow.
like I said, we have about 200 people that have already registered to come. So we're thrilled with the level of interest that there
Uh-huh.
is in the Galvez story
That
now.
is very, it's so
Thrilled.
important what you're doing and that people can, go down there and be able to learn so much that they don't know about. So saying this, that means that people can still go where to get tickets to go in, or how do they have to do this?
Sure. They can
Let people
just
know.
show up at Nunez Community College in Chalmette. The doors will open at 8 o'clock on Friday morning.
Hmm.
And the symposium itself will start at 9. We're slated to end by 5:30 on Friday. On Saturday, doors will open at 8. We'll start at 9, but we'll end by 12. And
Hmm.
so they can just come. They can just come at this
Okay.
point, because we
That's
don't want
fantastic.
anyone to not take advantage of the opportunity to come and hear these speakers and learn about this. Our speakers, for the most part, I think they will all, but just in case somebody comes without their books, most of our speakers, if not all, will have their books with them so that you can
Hmm.
purchase a copy of their books, have it autographed, chat with them, in the
Yeah.
hallway between
Okay, yeah,
speeches
that's
and everything.
interesting too. Apart from listening to all the lectures, like you're telling us now, people could buy the books from the authors.
Yeah.
What other things are going on? I know you're going to have stalls and there's other things happening. Tell people what other things they're able to find there.
Um, Well, I do have a jewelry maker who's coming. I don't know if you saw on my Facebook page. You need to go
I
look at the page.
did.
Okay, because if some of y'all want to ahead of time, let me
Mhm.
know. I can bring them to
I
Pensacola.
will do.
A
Okay.
wonderful woman, Dr. Alista East, who is for lack of a better description, I'm calling her a cultural historian. The woman is amazing with what she knows. And so she does these miniatures, and she's going to have those available for sale. Of course, things we do have a VIP reception that Friday night. Now that was ticketed and that is
Mhm.
sold out.
That's sold
Um,
out. Yeah,
so yeah,
obviously.
that is yes, that is sold out. And we're excited about that too.
Mhm.
Because at first I kept saying, well, if it doesn't sell out, we'll turn it into a seated dinner. If we don't have enough people for a reception, if we only get 12 people buy tickets, we'll make it a seated dinner. What can I
Well,
say? We'll just
no
roll with
problem.
it. But yeah, no problem. That's sold
Fantastic. It's
out.
all done.
And so that's going out. And then if they go out to the Isleños Fiesta, of
Oh,
course,
yes.
they have
Hmm.
brought in an amazing entertainment troupe from the Canary Islands that do the traditional music and
Yeah.
dancing and singing. The food at the Isleños Fiesta is not like
Mm.
regular fair food. Okay. If people go to a festival in America, in the United States, they're going to get, a hamburger, they're going to get a hot dog, they're going to get barbecue, they're going to get fried onion rings, things like that. That's not what you're going to find here. You're going
Yeah.
to find traditional Canary Island dishes cooked by the local people. This is not food truck food. This is the
The real
Canary
stuff.
Island men and women. It's the real stuff cooking the food. It's my favorite thing. I'm not an oyster eater, but the people who are tell me it's the best oysters that they ever get are at the Isleños Fiesta, which kind of makes sense since many of the Isleños are oyster fishermen. Of course,
Mm,
they're going to make sure the best that they can bring is
yeah,
going to come up for us. And Katie, I'm getting a running out of time message, so I don't know where we are on time. I didn't
you're
think to.
okay.
Are we okay? Okay. Oh
We're,
yeah,
we're,
time
we're
left
okay for
and
a while.
9 minutes. Yeah.
No worry.
9 minutes. Okay. So,
So yeah,
so
they'll
that's
have
really
fun down
going to
there
be
too.
fabulous.
After
Yes.
after your symposium, that they can have fun down in the
Yes.
Isleños and listen to that all the music and food, all influenced from the Canary Islands.
From the Canary
So
Islands. I know
yeah.
in past years, I don't, I never know until I get there what this, in past years, they've had some ladies set up making the beautiful lace from Tenerife, which
I've
is
seen that.
absolutely
Yes.
fascinating to
Mm,
watch. If someone has not seen it, it's just, gosh, that'll just fascinate you. So they'll have that going on as well as other crafts and
hmm
things. Yep.
Amazing. Well, all the work you guys are doing is absolutely amazing, and we really are so grateful that people are so interested now in all your work you're doing for people to learn about the history and their ancestors um and everything. It's really special. It's really special, and we are so proud of you all getting this all done. Um, I'd like to ask the question I'm asking everyone at the
Okay.
moment. Why is American 250 so important for you or for your community? Why do we have to celebrate American 250?
Well, because it's a major milestone. I know for those of you that live in Europe, where it's a much longer timetable. Um, but here it we are compared to Spain, a new country. We're still a new country compared to Spain. And so this is a big milestone in our history. Um, for a country that was born in a revolution, um, has in a revolution that some people there, many historians say didn't end until after the Battle of New Orleans in 1815. That all of that's the entire that's the period. That's a long
Mm,
time
long
to
time.
go on. It's a very long time. And it's interesting because you will find if you're looking at tombstones or doing genealogy down here, you will
Mm,
find many a man who fought in both the American Revolution and the Battle of New Orleans.
yeah.
They were still so they were still fighting. They were still
Mm,
fighting, even though it was no longer a Spanish territory. The Louisiana Purchase had taken place and all. But so it's important to remember why the country was founded, and it's important to remember the people who founded it. I talk about the women sometimes when I go out, depending on the audience, and I'm like, think about what this was like. He marched off in
mm,
1779. You now are responsible for feeding your children.
yeah.
That means you
Defending them.
defending the house,
Yeah.
defending the property.
Hmm.
Um, and that means there are hogs that have to be fed and killed. There are
Hmm.
cows that have to be taken care of. You probably have chickens and you have some crops. And you have to figure out how to make all this work. And you have to keep
Yeah.
clothes on everybody's back and a roof over their head, in a harsh environment. It's hot, it's humid, there are bugs, there's wildlife, there's hostile plants with
Mm,
thorns and make you itch. And so it's important to pay tribute to what these people went through to form this country. And
yeah.
that's why it's important to remember it and make a big deal out of these milestone years,
Mm,
because that's when you bring their story to the forefront and remind people that um, that they're like this was important. And then on a more personal note, we have some parts of Louisiana. I live in Baton Rouge. It's a prosperous city. Okay, well, I live in St. George technically. It's also a prosperous city. But you go up to say North Louisiana, and we have some very poor areas. And kids coming out of there sort of get told by society that they don't have a place here. They can't make anything of themselves. And so it's very important to me to get up there and talk to those children who are
Mm,
descendants of vaqueros who drove
yeah.
cattle from far out West Texas. Hard thing that, you do have a stake in the story of the founding of this
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
people were patriots, they were heroes, and they did very hard things.
Yes.
That
They've got
formed
heroes
this
blood. They've got
country.
heroes blood.
They, the blood of heroes and
Yeah.
patriots. And so don't let anybody tell you that you have less of the story, that this is less
Yeah.
your country than mine, because it isn't. My people were just down in the South eating, and your people were up here driving cattle.
Mm.
They both made this country.
What it
And
is.
and I
Yeah.
just think it's really important to inspire that next generation that's going to come behind us. And this is how
Yes.
you do it.
To know. Yeah.
You
Well,
make a big deal of important dates.
mhm. Well, thank you for that. And I think it's the nicest answer that I've get about it. I really feel what you're saying there, and it's fantastic. So great. Is there anything else that you want to tell people before our time is up? Because we know we have kind of limited time.
I understand.
Um,
I want to remind your viewers and your listeners that when they come to Louisiana, there's more to Louisiana than just New Orleans. That we
yes,
want them to come and explore more of our cultural
very
areas.
important.
And especially if they're coming on a Spanish history tour, especially
Mm,
after Ray, I'm going to have more information about great places that they should go. Certainly, Las Adias, we're looking forward to possibly hosting a book launch on what will be the first academic biography of Ibarbo. Is
hmm.
due to be published in 2029, which is in addition to being the 250th anniversary of the Battle of Baton Rouge, it is the 300th anniversary of Ibarbo's birth, and he was born there at Las Adias. So we are working with the author to make that happen, to bring more attention to Louisiana's very early Spanish history.
Hmm.
It's even earlier than the 250th. It's 300 years ago. So we have
Well,
a lot going on, and we
I
want people to
know you
come and
you never stop.
experience it. I know, and we want y'all to come and experience the bigger
Yes.
picture, not
Well,
just,
we
you know. We're
yes,
going to drag you
definitely
across
people
the
have
state.
to. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Well, thank you, Anne, for all your work that you're doing, and your husband Paul, and everyone that's involved with this symposium and with everything you're doing, and all the projects you have for the future. I know we're going to have you many more times on the show because you
We'll have
you
things to
have
talk about.
yes, you
Yes.
definitely
Yes.
will, and have to tell people what you're getting up to, what you're doing, what you've achieved, what you're publishing. So thank you so much for your
Thank you for
time. I know
having
you're
me.
very busy because you're getting everything ready for Friday. Our best wishes for everything. I hope everything goes fantastic. And we'll definitely try and talk to somebody that's maybe one of those speakers. We'll try and get them on after the symposium so they can let us know what was going on those Friday and Saturday. Okay?
That sounds great. Thanks so
So
much,
thank
Katie.
you, Anne. Take care.
Wonderful. Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Bye-bye. Thank you. Till next time, guys. Bye-bye. Take care.